Honestly, none of the sound is going to be ideal today because I'm also getting over another cold.
Yeah.
So,
Out from flying, probably.
probably from going to Disneyland again. I always mask up when I fly, and I'm like obsessive about hand sanitizer. Not that can't still be the cause,
Right.
but I'm gonna let him in, right?
Sure. For context, guys, Danny is cat sitting a friend's cat for 3 weeks, and he's screaming. How are you? How's LA?
Warm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not too bad today, minus the blizzard coming up.
I wish you hadn't told me about that.
I'm sorry.
We're talking into the future, so I'm just hoping that, like, it's not that big of a deal. Because it's so warm, I don't think the snow's gonna stick.
I hope.
Right? Isn't that kind of how snow works?
Yeah, if it's warm enough.
The reason it stuck so much was because it was like 8 degrees last time.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Because I really can't. I can't do it.
I can't do this again.
I mean, what I'll do is I'll just stay entirely inside.
Yeah.
I didn't miss anything in New York.
Literally, no. I did Valentine's Day, which was nice.
Cute.
I did an ASL tour at the Studio Museum in Harlem. Really fun. I've been going once a month to that museum, having a great time. Then we got dinner, and then we watched Sleepless in Seattle.
Cute.
Classic Valentine's Day movie.
I've still never seen it.
It's pretty good. It's cute. The other 2 movies I saw this month were Some Like It Hot, which I've seen already.
Oh, so good.
So good. A has never seen it, so we did that. And then I showed A La La Land. I have a soft spot for La La Land.
Oh my god, you are Paulo.
Yeah?
That's fucking crazy. It's his favorite movie.
I think it's so sweet, and A didn't get into it.
I hated it my first time watching it. I saw it with my parents, and I hated it because we're all like true musical heads.
Okay.
And obviously it's not like a true musical.
No, I think the music...
It's like an experimental musical almost.
Yeah.
That being said, it's really grown on me, and now I love it. I think because I don't live in LA anymore, it's like a fun way to romanticize.
I cried at the end, and it was like, what are you doing?
No.
I was like, they support each other's dreams.
Yeah, no, it's really heartwarming and also bittersweet at the end.
And A was like, this is stupid, they're not together.
Yeah, it's a tough movie. Did it make you want to go to LA? Were you watching it thinking, that's where Danny is right now?
I did think that.
You said, actually, no. You were not my mind
Well,
at
the
all.
first scene is everyone stuck in traffic.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Which
I don't know. It's all
that
about...
opening scene was when my dad turned to me. He went, "Oh no!" Like in the theater.
And then everyone gets out of the car and starts dancing on the freeway.
It's like now, I don't know. It took me years, but that's honestly Damien Chazelle.
It's a love letter to LA.
Yeah,
I get it, and I do love when Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone are dancing, and you can see the beautiful sunset over LA.
They have fantastic chemistry. I mean, Crazy Stupid Love is one of my favorite films.
So good.
Film capital F. I think it's up there with the greats.
Yeah, with Steve Carell
Yeah.
and the New Balance shoes.
Oh my
so
god,
good.
Steve Carell is so hot in that movie.
Who is?
Steve Carell.
He's hot in that?
Yeah, I have such a crush.
I
on Steve
love
Carell.
that.
Do you want to talk about the drama going on online in the ASL community?
Yeah, so I lightly know about it. So basically, ASL Pinnacle.
Yeah, his response has been like the best.
He is very well spoken. His name is
so-
Jason, and I found out about the controversy through him. But basically, 2 coders.
I found out a lot messier because I follow everyone involved.
I saw that you follow them. I
like
don't follow the coders.
All these. Well, I follow Claudia. I don't know if I follow the other kid.
Yeah.
Maybe I do. I've seen his videos a lot.
Anyway, from what I know,
Yeah.
jump in if I miss anything. But these 2 coders, Claudia, and who's the other guy?
I think it's Jacob.
Jacob or
His
something.
name's Jacob.
He's young. He looks like he's 19.
Yeah, he's like a baby.
The 2 of them got invited to Paris to work on this app where they teach sign. And you see clips of them, and it's like videos of them like teaching basic signs.
Mm-hmm.
But then Jason, who is a deaf man, he runs the ASL Pinnacle Instagram. Big fan of him.
Yeah.
But he posted like, this is not really your position to be doing this. While you guys are coders and ASL is your mother tongue, you are taking jobs from deaf people.
Yeah.
Basically. And that's kind of all I know about it. Do you know anything else?
No, I mean, pretty much just that. A couple other deaf creators that I follow called them out a little less nicely, which is their full right. I'm like here for the tea of it all.
Jason was like, shame on you, and then tagged the 2 people.
And unfortunately, Instagram like cut off his first video right as he was trying to say, like, this language is not yours to sell.
Yes.
And it cut off at this language is not yours.
Uh-oh.
So then there was like a whole wave of people on the other side being like, whoa, 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 you can't just decide that like
It's not their language.
that's why the second video he had to be like, yes, if your Coda sign language is your mother tongue, that's not what I'm saying. Like I feel like people were just like trying to misunderstand him on purpose almost.
Yeah.
I don't know. Outrage economy. People like love to be mad. In this case though, like, come on guys. Yeah. Do you like all the Avatar memes I've been sending you?
I said one thing about Avatar on the podcast, and now every time you get like a weird Avatar Instagram reel, you have to send it to me.
I do. I feel like they're for you.
Thank you.
People are being so weird about this movie.
They are.
And speaking of which, I liked Wuthering Heights.
I didn't see it.
Should we get to the show?
Yeah, let's do it.
I didn't look up this painting.
Okay, it is called The Art of Painting.
Yeah, I was like, surely that can't be one.
It's a Vermeer painting,
Oh, okay, it is one.
and it depicts a woman in blue posing. She's holding a trumpet, and then a painter is painting her.
Oh, okay.
And the painting was once owned by Hitler.
Oh.
Yeah. It wasn't confiscated. It seems like the family voluntarily sold it to him. But, you know, like, the Nazis hoarded art
Yeah.
for, like, any art they deemed, like, cool Aryan art.
Yeah.
So that Vermeer painting was one of them. Anyways, I think it's just called that because Regina has an art show. I tried to do some, like, allegorical, metaphorical references. I was like, no. It's just because she had the art show.
There's a lot of art in this episode.
There is. A lot of art and a lot of signing, which I was
A lot of
delighted.
signing and not as much sim-comming
I
as
know.
we're used to.
I was delighted.
Pao watched this episode with me, and he multiple times went, why are they talking if they're signing?
Great question, Paolo. The first scene, Emmett is putting on his hearing aid, and he is practicing his speech therapy in front of a mirror. And one of the sentences is what? May I please have some pie? May I please have some pie?
These are hard sentences.
Yeah, when I did speech therapy, I don't remember having homework and given full sentences to repeat over and over.
But maybe that was because you weren't starting as a teenager?
Yeah, maybe. I remember doing sounds, but not sentences.
He's playing catch up.
Yeah, he is playing catch
So
up.
maybe that's why.
And yeah, this hearing aid seems very uncomfortable. It's because the caption keeps saying static, shrill.
Yeah. I had a question about that logistically. Like, does he need the hearing aid to practice speaking?
It helps to hear the sound of your own voice.
But isn't the whole thing that he can't really still? And so he's having a hard time?
Yes, but I think the hearing aid is going to help him feel the vibrations and hear the sound of his own voice better to help him practice.
Got it.
Which I'll get into later because Bae is going to try it out for herself.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, this hearing aid seems uncomfortable. Sometimes if hearing aids aren't working properly, they make this very high-frequency feedback sound, and it's very painful. And it also seems like he's not used to wearing it, so every sound he hears is painful to him.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
This one girl that I follow, she has like a hearing husband. She's really pretty, blonde.
Okay.
I don't know her name, but she has this one video that went pretty viral of her being like, I haven't been wearing my implants for a couple of weeks, and so I'm finally going to put them back on. And then she puts them on, and she's like, what's that sound? And it's her breathing. And all the comments are like, I cannot imagine the overstimulation.
It's so overstimulating.
Yeah,
It's so loud. And it also doesn't sound like the way you guys sound. It's like
right.
brassy or tinny. So it's just not that pleasant. So, and Emmett's not thrilled. And then Bae comes in, jumps up behind him, and he's basically like, why are you here?
Don't sneak up on him.
I know. And then Olivia, Cameron's girlfriend, comes in and he's like, girl, I get it. Why don't you have some alcohol? You minor child.
They take her character like too far in this episode.
Way too far.
Like, there's just no way someone would be like that. Be like, have a shot or two.
Yeah, and Bae
16-year-old?
rightfully is like, what the fuck?
Yeah. She says, what are they going to give you for your SATs? Heroin? And he, like, laughs. I'm like, it's not funny, actually.
No. Now we're at basketball practice at Buckner. Simone is still holding a grudge after Daphne got that point guard position, and she's just not playing along. It's a team sport. You gotta be a team.
We don't get a lot of Simone in this episode.
Good.
I know, thank God. I thought we'd get more of her being a bitch. I mean, she is a bitch in this episode, but like, she's not that relevant.
Yeah. And then Regina is preparing her art for the gallery showing. She's adjusting some mask on the wall.
Okay, she was annoying me this whole episode, I'm gonna be honest.
know.
I'm like happy for her, but also,
I also guess they're showing more than one piece of her work. It seems like it's the Phoebe Bridgers Punisher piece and then the mask.
and then the masks. Yeah, but I feel like she made a big deal about letting him show one piece. So then it's like, wait, what? There's two now?
Yeah.
But specifically, the Punisher piece is not for sale, but the masks are.
No, the masks are not for sale, but the Punisher piece is.
No, because she says later he's going to charge $500 for some old masks.
But then later, Bay and Regina talk, and Bay goes, I knows the masks and the wings weren't for sale, and I knows the wings were made of bay leaves.
Okay, that has to be a plot hole then. 'Cause
Maybe.
she explicitly is like, he's charging $500 for some old masks. And then later on, she says about the Punisher piece, this one's not for sale.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Guys, what's the truth here?
She makes $500 later.
Yeah. And
I just don't know
and
what from.
He splits it. The gallery commission is 50-50, so he gets 250 of that.
But she gets a check for $500.
I know.
So I thought the piece was $1,000, and he got $500 already, and then gave her $500.
Oh my God.
Guys,
What
explain.
is the truth?
Next scene, Catherine's at a cafe with Britzia, Justina Mercado. Welcome back. This cafe is really cute. It had nice stained glass windows.
I agree. It didn't seem like it belonged to Casey. No offense.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, first of all, that cafe is in Los Angeles, California.
I figured.
But
We need to go to Casey so we can stop ribbing on it.
so true.
Britzia was fired from the hospital under the guise of like erratic work habits and showing up late like twice. But we all know it's because she's a whistleblower.
Yeah.
And Catherine's like, that's okay, you can get another job. They can't do that.
Yeah, this is an episode of Catherine being like, they can't do that, and her being like, well, they can, and they did.
They can and they did, and there's nothing I can do about it because I don't have money for a fancy lawyer like you do.
Yeah.
And also, I am being blacklisted from getting any nursing job, which sucks.
Yeah.
And if I can't get a job, I'm going to drop out of the lawsuit because I need to feed my family.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to be fair, like, Britzia's she won't get money from the lawsuit.
No, she's just like doing them a solid.
Yeah, so she's just like risking herself and her reputation.
And her family.
Yeah.
She's like, why would I do that?
I will say this is definitely motivated by them punishing her for speaking out. If I were a hospital, would I want to hire the nurse that very publicly is going, yeah, I'm pretty sure I switched those babies?
Perhaps not.
Probably not, but that's not what's happening here,
No.
for sure. I guess she'd be extra careful going forward with the babies, so it's probably fine.
But it's also because they overworked her.
Yes, completely.
Yeah,
No,
okay,
that's why.
great. Next scene, Wilkie and Daphne are outside of Buckner, walking around.
Thank God Wilkie's back.
Thank God. They were both named Athlete of the Month.
Yeah,
Yay.
kind of random thing that exists. Is that a thing at schools?
My school has Students of the Month, but not Athletes of the Month, I think.
Okay.
But they go all out for these students. You get a steak dinner, Kansas City Royal tickets, and free sports drinks. And then all you have to do is take like the corporate boosters, Access Rush, which is Gatorade. It's Gatorade.
Okay.
All they have to do is basically take the corporate sponsors on a tour of the school and be like, thanks to your money, we have these
Yeah.
wonderful fancy things. And with more money of yours, we can make more fancy things, like the brand new aquatic center that we want to build.
What is Buckner's deal?
It's crazy. Drives me crazy.
I never was exposed to like private schools like that, so
Yeah.
I don't know how accurate that is.
Then Bay is in her art studio learning to be an empath. She's blasting music in her headphones while repeating, may I please have some pie? May I please have some pie?
I know, she's trying to understand Emmett. I felt really bad for her this whole episode because
I
she's
know.
like trying her best and Emmett's really lashing out at her.
Being a dick, a surly boy.
Does he get good again? Does he pull
I don't
himself out of
know.
this or is he like this the rest of the
I don't know.
show?
I think he continues sucking.
Oh, we only got like 3 good episodes before he turned into a brat.
I know. Even when you say I love you, he was still a brat the entire episode.
Yeah. But I will say Bay is a brat to everyone else this episode. So I guess the cycle's continuing.
Regina comes up from behind and is like, stop that, you'll go deaf.
Says you'll damage your hearing.
And Bay explains, well, I'm trying to understand what it's like to speak without hearing your own voice.
Yeah.
And then she says, it feels like your voice is separate from your body, which I think is very true. I agree with that. When I don't have my implants on and I'm speaking, it does feel like it's kind of untethered. Also, it's very hard to regulate pitch and volume and tone when you can't hear yourself. Hence why I think Emmett has the hearing aid on to practice. A says when I don't have my implants on and I'm speaking, I speak very softly because I can't hear myself. But when I was younger, I used to speak very loud. Again, because I couldn't hear myself. Yeah. But you basically, as you learn speech, you just rely on vibration and muscle memory. I mean, speech is just, your tongue's a muscle.
Yeah.
So it's all muscle memory at that point. So
I feel for Emmett. It's really scary to start that so late.
yeah. And then Regina says, I get it. I used to stick my head underwater to understand what it feels like for Daphne. I have no empathy for her.
For Regina?
Yeah. She said I used to stick my head underwater and then I didn't teach her sign. Or give her hearing aids. So,
yeah, I'm like, I was kind of wondering, like, when did you do that?
right.
Anyway.
I don't care. But first she said, I would like you to come to my art show. And the exhibit is called New Voices from the Prairie.
Yeah, what was
The prairie?
I know. Are we in the prairie? Is Kansas City in the prairie?
No. Well,
is it?
A prairie is like, when I think of a prairie, I think of nothing.
I think of Little House on the Prairie.
I think of grassland and prairie dogs. I don't think of Kansas City, a metropolitan area.
Yeah, but is Missouri? Do they have a prairie?
I don't think so.
Guys, weigh in. I would love if a fan from Kansas City wrote in to explain to us what's going on. And no, I will not be Googling it.
And Bay even makes a statement like, it does sound like it's something like an ignorant, rich New York guy would call it.
Yeah.
So she kind of rolls her eyes at the name of the show.
Well, she kind of rolls her eyes at everything about the show. And I feel a little bad for Regina because Bay is being, like, such a brat about it.
Yeah.
Like, I understand. She should have just said, I don't want to go.
Well, she originally says no, but then I think she's like, wait, I should go because it's not because I didn't get it, but because it's my mom.
Yeah, well, yeah, Regina says, I would really like you there.
And then she's like, oh,
okay, then I will come. But Regina does sell it as, like, you can get to know people in the art world. I don't know. I don't go to a lot of gallery openings these days, but it was, like, something I did in LA. And I never felt like, oh, this room is full of, like, art insiders.
You never know.
But Regina's literally like, this will be, like, a networking opportunity for you. And I'm like, okay, maybe just say.
Just come for me, your mom.
Yeah. So.
Which is basically
ultimately what works. Yeah.
Melody is having a garage sale, or at least trying to attempt to have a garage sale.
I know, we never actually see her have a garage sale.
Yeah, she's just like sticking posters to things.
The garage.
Yeah, and Daphne's there helping out. And Melly's like, well, I could use the money because I'm not going to be able to coach girls basketball next year because they are cutting the team due to budget constraints. Classic thing about deaf schools. And then Daphne is like, oh, that sucks. I'm an amazing player. I should have stayed and helped you. And then we would get funded. But girl, you hated them.
There was a really weird, they chose some weird close-up angles on Melody signing. In
I
scene.
wrote this too because
it's like head cut out of the frame, like mid-chest down.
And it's zoomed in on her hands, but like from behind. It was very strange. It was really distracting. They did like 3 times during that scene.
Yeah, it was very, I wonder if like something happened with the footage, genuinely, that they had to do that weird of a crop.
Oh, I just thought they were trying to be artsy and be like, look at this beautiful sign.
It wasn't a scene that called for it.
No, it was so strange.
It was very random. Anyway, Toby's also in his garage. He's practicing, and Wilkie comes by.
The song sounded like the intro to Party in the USA. It was like, dun.
Also, I expected there to be some, like, bad blood between Toby and Wilkie about the band.
No.
But there doesn't seem to be.
No, they say, hey, guys.
Yeah, Wilkie doesn't really care. But what he does care about is that Toby's dating Simone, and Simone is being a cunt to Daphne. And he says so. He says, hey, maybe tell her to lay off.
Your sister.
And Toby is so... Yeah, your fucking sister. Toby's so rude. He says, you want to get involved in a girl fight? Like, should I get you a training bra? What the fuck?
So mean. That is your sister.
It also, like, comes out of left field. I feel like Toby's usually not like that.
Yeah, that was not cool of him.
No. And Wilkie's just like, okay, fuck off, man.
Yeah.
And then Toby gets a call from Simone,
Like he's a servant.
who's like, yeah. It was odd the way it was framed, though. Like, why, if you live at home with your parents and you're a teenager, why do you need your boyfriend to go to the store and pick up diet soda for you?
I don't know. I think she was like, we have dinner plans. Can you go get the food? Maybe. And I
In
wanted
which case, that would, not to defend Simone, but, like, that would be fine.
Right. But the way the phone call, we don't hear the phone call.
No,
but
we just hear Toby be like, yes, honey.
yes, honey, I'm writing this all down as I'm not writing this all down.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes him sound like a servant.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, so Wilkie's helping Daphne prepare for this, like, schmoozy tour that they have to take
Yeah.
the XS Rush guys on. I was just confused about this. It felt odd to me.
Do you want to just do this storyline and wrap it up?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So basically, she was like, I'm
Yeah.
writing this tour because, one, I can't hear well. And Wilkie's like, I got you. First of all, Wilkie, you need to learn some sign now. This is the time.
Yeah, even before when he's telling her about the tour and he says the XS Rush guys, and she's like, the what? And he goes, XS, right? Like he like makes an X with his arms.
Instead of signing.
I'm
X.
like, at least the alphabet.
At least learn the alphabet.
It'll take you 2 days.
They're boyfriend girlfriend now, right? Or at least they're at least seeing each other.
They're like dating, yeah.
Yeah. It's time to learn some signs.
Yeah.
But basically, I guess what they do is they take the boosters on a tour. Once a month sounds
Once a month is so often.
so often.
Like, what's changing in that amount of time? But also, I guess, so it's a bunch of old white men. Surprise. And some of the old white men are on the board of the school.
and some
And
are
some are the
like the boosters.
the boosters. But at the time watching it, the visual is just like these two teenagers in the high school at night
yeah, it
leading
was
this
so
group
odd.
of old men around.
In a basketball court being like, thanks to your money, we have these bouncy new basketball floors.
Yeah, and there's like a snack spread on the basketball court.
It's
It
very
just
strange.
felt like, why would these guys want to spend their time doing this?
On like a Tuesday night. It's
Yeah,
very weird.
It's
but
very strange.
it also seemed like a presentation, really, to ask for money for the aquatic center.
Yeah.
And I noticed one of the guys looks at Daphne, hears her deaf accent, and goes, are you here on scholarship?
Yeah.
Crazy. And then Daphne's like, no, I do my academics at Carleton, which,
No, in fact, I brought money to this school because I'm deaf. Like, she should have been like, actually,
I got disability funding for you fuckers.
Yeah.
And speaking of Carleton, the greatest deaf school in the world, you should give your money to them, actually, because Buckner's fine.
okay, this was a really hard scene to watch, I'm going to be honest.
I agree with her, not the time.
Exactly. I was like, Daphne, you're so right. They should be sponsoring more schools. They should be giving money to schools that need it. That being said, this is so inappropriate, and I know that
So inappropriate.
she like doesn't really understand because she didn't grow up in rooms like in context like this. But you
But even-
cannot just fucking ask for money. It's giving $5 cupcakes. Like you cannot just be like, well, yes, now give your money to Carleton, a school with which you have. I'm sure half those guys from XS Rush fucking went to Buckner.
That's my thing. I was like, these people probably went to Buckner, so they have the incentive, or like they want to
Right.
support the school that they went to. Like they have no ties to Carleton.
Like, yes, do I think that a rich energy drink company should be using their marketing money for good? Sure.
But why would they?
But, like, not only why would they, but, like, you cannot just be like, and by the way, you should be funding this other random school you know nothing about.
Right.
No one's going to respond positively to that.
No. And even Wilkie tells Daphne beforehand, like, please do this tour. It's so important to me.
Yeah, and she's not fucking listening to him.
She is not listening. And Wilkie's trying to steer the conversation away to, like, the basketball court. And she's like, but please give your money to Carleton. And it's uncomfortable to watch.
She also is dressed like a 10-year-old again.
I
In
know.
this scene.
We'll get more into this when we get to, like, the Occupy Carleton thing. But it's just, like, the hints of that Carleton is struggling
Yeah.
financially.
Yes.
So keep that in mind. But yeah, anyways, Wilkie's like, shut up.
After the scene, they get in a big fight in like a dramatic, dark lit hallway.
At Buckner.
It's really was reminding me of High School Musical 3 when Troy Bolton goes to the school and like has his dramatic singing scene. in
when the
black-
hallway spins?
Yeah, when the hallway spins and there's like lightning outside, like it felt like that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
What song was that?
Oh my god.
Scream?
Yeah.
I think
You
I'm
make me wanna scream.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Anyways, Wilkie's like, so what was that? That was not cool. She's like, but
He's
you
like,
guys have everything. He was like, I understand, but that was not the place and time.
Right. And then he was like, I really needed that to go well. And she goes, well, you should have told me that. He went, I did. Okay, Wilkie, but maybe you should have signed it to her. Maybe she would have listened to them.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
That's kind of the end of that plot.
We don't get a resolution.
She doesn't apologize. She doesn't... Yeah,
no,
nothing
that's
really
the last
happened.
we see of Wilkie in that episode.
Now we're at the Kennish house, and Catherine and John are talking with Craig Tebby, the lawyer. And Catherine's like, guys, we have to help Ritzia. And Craig Tebby is kind of like, we cannot help her financially as much as you want to. It's going to destroy the hospital lawsuit.
What he does say that surprised me was he was like, well, it's not illegal.
It's not illegal.
I was surprised by that. I feel like it would be. But it's not, I guess, just frowned
It's
upon.
not illegal to help, but it's just not going to help them with the lawsuit.
No, definitely not.
Now, Regina's at Melody's garage.
I'm not positive about this, but I think this may be the first scene where they are not
Simcomming. I wrote this too.
And there's no rhyme or reason to it.
Is it because Daphne speaks too? Is that why they simcom?
No, there's no way. No, because we've seen them together before by themselves. Regina's still fucking yapping out loud.
I know.
But they're just like, they're not in the scene. It's beautiful.
She and Melody are finally
Yeah.
not simcomming. She just basically asked Melody, like, how are things going with Emmett? And she was like, not great. He's kind of pushing me away.
Yeah.
So we'll see about that.
Sad.
But now we're at Cameron's house. And Bay is telling Emmett about the art gallery showing. And she's like, can you join me? And he says, of course. The first nice thing he's done this episode.
And then she asked him how was school, and he said, I didn't go.
Yeah. Well, he shows her stickers that he made.
He made these little miniature stickers for her.
So a couple episodes back when Bay showed the art on the projector, it was like the two of them on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
And Emmett...
It's a cute piece.
It's a very cute piece. And Emmett turned those into stickers. And Bay's like, great. And he goes, I worked all day on these stickers. I'm really proud of them. And she goes, all day? And he goes, yeah, I didn't go to school. In fact, I'm going to drop out. Who needs history and biology and trig? And Bay's like, right. But don't you need those to like graduate high school? And he goes, well, I can just get my GED.
So this was a hard scene for me to watch.
Okay. He wants to become a photographer.
As someone who was homeschooled.
Right.
Like, my brother got his GED.
Right.
He did not go to high school and graduate high school.
Mm-hmm.
Most homeschoolers who didn't go to high school just got their GED.
Yes, but it's quite different. It's what, like 4 tests? Or it's 7 hours total. I Googled it. It's like 4 tests through the course of 7 hours instead of, 4 years of high school.
I guess my point is I agree with a lot of what Emmett was saying, but then ultimately don't agree with that choice for Emmett.
But I
Does
think
that
you
make sense?
need math and biology.
Well, I think that people should go at least to community college. I just, don't think that high school... I think he's right to be like, if I want to be a photographer, why do I need to be, stressing out about failing trig?
Okay.
Passing trig, whatever. But then the problem is that Emmett's not actually applying himself.
He's
to
not
the
applying
photography.
himself.
And then I also feel like Emmett's not a go-getter enough to do that path, is my point.
Right.
I have a lot of friends who, were like, oh, I'm going to discard all that stuff and then go to college, and then went on to grad school and, are doing amazing, really specialized things that they care about.
That's good. Do you think there's a stigma against people who have GEDs when they're applying for jobs, though?
I don't know. I'm sure. I imagine yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess it also depends on the job.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've reached a point in my adulthood where, no one fucking asks about my education.
That's true. I think also...
But I think it's a tough start, for sure. And especially if you are a deaf kid. I think
sure.
why give yourself another thing?
Another barrier.
Yeah, another thing that, you're going to have to convince some random person to give you a job that already might be biased against you. That being said, Bay is kind of it feels kind of classist, her response.
It did.
She's like, oh, you're going to get your GED and then
work at the grocery store.
Yeah, work at the grocery store. What's wrong with working at the grocery store?
Right.
And then also, I don't know. I just was I wish that Bay had been more okay, let's talk through your plan.
It's one thing to get your GED and then go to college. or
Yeah.
apply for a community college program where you can do photography. But it seems like he's like, I want to drop out. I'll get my GED whenever. And
Yeah.
then I just go outside and take some pictures. It doesn't seem like he
Exactly. Emmett's plan is not a good plan.
has... No. And the way he's saying it, it's going to be as if Bay is going to be so nonchalant and chill about it.
Yeah.
Is he delusional?
I mean, that's the thing about Bae is, like, she loves her, like, fucking street art, but then also she's, like, not rebellious in any real way.
No.
Like, she's, like, very much, like, but the system says you have to go to school. I guess I'm just saying, like, it's hard for me as someone who's like, yeah, that is true. That is a valid option.
Yeah, it is. But you
But
need
you
to
have
have
to
a
have
plan.
a plan. You have to, like, you have to commit to that being, like, your alternative life and have more of a plan. I don't know.
And he doesn't have a plan. He's just like, fuck Trig, basically.
Right. So,
Yeah. And Bay's having a mini heart attack. As I would, too.
yeah, I mean, I think if your 16-year-old boyfriend's like, I've got no plan, I have a dad that doesn't give a fuck about me,
I'm not eating and I'm drinking.
yeah, I don't have my motorcycle anymore, and I'm gonna be a photographer. And also, guys, Emmett's photography is bad. So that's an important line of context here.
Yeah. Which Bay doesn't say, but maybe she knows.
Yeah, maybe she knows in her heart. I don't know. Also, like, why did it take him all day to make those stickers?
All day. I was
All
like,
day?
it doesn't take that long to make
The
stickers.
print already existed.
Right. He was like, I worked so hard to make sure they were centered. You did?
Okay, dude. Skill issue.
I bet he slept till like 2 p.m. and then made some stickers in an hour, and then Bay came over after school.
Yeah. Anyway, she kind of rolls back. She, like, pretends she's not freaked out. And it's like, oh, good. For a second there, you sounded like my mom.
And she's like, haha, okay.
Don't fucking say that to your girlfriend. That's a weird thing to say. That's a mean thing
know.
to say.
I know.
Anyway.
Next scene, we're at the Kenish house.
Yeah, and Catherine's like, don't mind me. I'm just taking stuff to the hazardous waste dump. Do we think...
Queen of Environmental Protection, Danny.
Okay, why... This was, like, felt like product placement, but they're not selling anything.
I think they did the scene to show the card that they have.
Right. That's it. That was its only purpose. And she's like, I'm doing my part by taking this stuff to the hazardous waste dump. And Bay goes, while you're there, you might as well leave the gas-guzzling SUV.
Yes.
And Catherine gets a little look in her eye. Like, I have an idea.
Yeah. Bay is wearing a crazy blazer. It's like really pointy sleeves, really pointy shoulders.
Bay's outfits this entire episode, it really killed me.
Yeah. But then she's like, Mom, why didn't you call ice on Angelo? And Catherine goes, well, first of all, I'm not a snitch. And then I realized what he did is really none of her business. And also,
Yeah.
fuck ice. She didn't say that, but she was like,
It was implied in her tone.
yeah. She said, it's none of her business, and I knew it would break your heart if he left. And also, fuck ice. And Bay is like, okay, cool. I just want to know when it's appropriate to intervene in a situation, basically.
Yeah.
And Catherine, I think, smartly says, will the person get hurt if you don't interfere? And Bay's like, thinking.
I think she should have gone to Regina, not Melody. If she wanted to avoid giving Emmett that sense of betrayal.
But it helps their relationship later on.
Yeah, it does, obviously. But I just think, like, I think I would have told my mom and been like, and do with that what you will.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm just glad she went to an adult.
Yes, that
Yeah.
was good of her.
Yeah. It does, yeah. You're right, Regina would have been a good person. Then Regina could have broken the news to Melody.
Yeah, but honestly, Regina's so unreliable. Maybe she just would have been like, whatever.
And she's too busy with her art show this episode. Yeah. Next scene, Daphne comes to Cameron's house to see Emmett.
Because apparently they're still studying for trig.
And Emmett shows up and he's like, shit, forgot about that.
Yeah.
Anyways, want to see some pictures?
And Daphne's like, no, I gotta go. She's gotta go on that fancy tour.
And then he doubles down. He's like, no,
Yeah.
I'm going to take pictures.
He's being rude to her.
Yeah. And by the way, these pictures aren't even for yearbook because I'm quitting yearbook.
Yeah, he says the light is perfect right now. What is he gonna go take pictures of? The trees?
I don't know.
I'm just confused about Emmett's, like, photography goals.
He lives in a suburban area. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. There's art everywhere.
I mean, I guess when I was 16, I was probably doing the same thing.
There are cathedrals everywhere for those with the eyes to see. I get it. But, like, I don't know. But Daphne's like, so why are you quitting yearbook? You're the best photographer they have. And then Emma goes, well, you were the best basketball player Carlton had, and you left. And she was like, so that's different. I actually still go to school.
But he's like, we're not different. Carlton's no longer the center of our worlds. Which is true. But
Yeah.
I don't know how good of a thing that is.
Right.
Like, I don't think that Daphne's been made better by her exposure to Buckner.
No, having the deaf community is good for you guys.
Yeah.
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 This is now when Bay goes to Melody in her
Right.
pointy blazer. And she goes, Melody, I'm worried about Emma. She's not eating right. And he has been missing a ton of school. I noticed she said the word missed, but then she signed skip. Interesting. But Melody must know he's been missing school. She's the school guidance counselor. Like, don't the students get flat? Did they miss a certain amount? It seems like Melody kind of knows, which is
I
interesting.
think she's maybe. I understand, like, Emmett's grown enough that maybe it's best to let him go on his, like, ridiculous spiral and then see the consequences of his actions versus
Maybe.
saving him from them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But then Bay is like, he wants to drop out, but she doesn't know how to sign drop out. So she signs leave forever. And then Melody was interesting. She was being very curt about it and goes, is that everything?
Yeah, she was very stone-faced the whole interaction.
Yeah.
But then she warms up to Bay a little bit later.
I think because she realizes Bay shared this because she cares about Emma, as does Melody, of course.
Yeah. And then back at Cameron's place, Emmett's trying to practice speech therapy and he's having a tough time. So he takes not one shot, but two.
I don't know, I feel like being drunk and having slow speech is not going to help your speech therapy
Definitely
practice.
not.
He also gets a text from Melody and deletes it. It's art show time.
And I hate everyone's outfit, except for Melody's. I think Melody's is fine.
She
but
had a nice
everyone
brown
else,
dress.
She looked hot in it. But everyone else looks terrible.
Regina looks crazy.
Regina looks so crazy. She's wearing like
A fuchsia blouse and then like a skin tight gray miniskirt.
I think it's one of those 2012 situations where it's actually a dress and it's like a color
it's
blocked,
attached.
a color blocked,
Yeah.
attached business casual dress.
Right.
It's awful.
It's so ugly.
The gray is really bad. And then Bay is wearing like this bright red dress with like a like early 2000s prom-esque like gem thing on the front, like design on the front, and then this little ruffly shrug.
Like a feathery, ruffly cardigan.
I don't hate the shrug, but paired with the dress is so awful. It's just like so terrible.
I was thinking I like the dress, but I hate the cardigan.
Okay, well we can divide the outfit
Yeah.
and share it that way.
Okay, Bay's reluctantly at the art show in her weird outfit,
Such a brat.
arms crossed.
So
I know.
rude in public.
And Melly kind of like ushers them away and is like, go do your thing, go network. I think because she wants to flirt with people.
That's what I was gonna say too. I was like, I feel like her and the art gallery guy could really hit
I
it.
know, that's what I thought.
But they don't interact in this episode. But maybe
No.
later. Maybe I'm remembering something that happens later. I don't know.
Yeah, but Bay like stomps around the gallery, looks at art angrily, and then she slaps her sticker art on one of the columns.
This is so disrespectful, I think.
Yeah.
That's so fucking rude to do. Just because this guy didn't pick your art, a 16-year-old, for the gallery, like, I don't know. Like, this is really burning bridges.
I know.
Also, she already knows that he doesn't like...
She also already put up art across the street from the gallery.
Yeah.
That he called like Banksy wannabe.
And he hated that. And then there's a couple...
Oh my god, do you
There's
see what the guy was wearing?
The hat... There's a very 2012... It's a 2012 hipster couple. It literally looked like Jack Antonoff and Aubrey Plaza to
Oh
me.
my god. He's wearing like a fedora,
Yeah.
but pushed back on his head.
Yeah. And a
A
scarf.
plaid button up and a bow tie. And the two of them are looking at Regina's Phoebe Bridgers Punisher piece. Regina is in the distance listening in on their conversation.
Yeah.
And they're looking at the art and the woman is referencing like the art catalog about the show.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, this is from the artist whose daughters were switched at birth. And you can really see the pain in the art.
And like the blood, like see how the red represents bloodlines.
And like birth or something. Which is not what the art is about. But whatever, art's up to interpretation.
Okay, wait. A couple of things. Regina would have known about the switch at this point when she made this piece.
She would have. But she said this
she
was
got
about
sober
her.
after learning about the switch. Right. She said what she said. Do I think that maybe a little bit it could be about that?
Sure, why not?
Sure, why not? Second, that's a way better story than, yeah, it's just some like broken glass from bottles because I'm an alcoholic. Like if you're talking about like having a unique story.
And that's what
We were-
Patrick says.
Right, we were just like kind of hating on the fact that they were like, you're such a unique voice and this is such a unique piece. And we were like, okay, how many fucking alcoholic artists have used beer bottles in their pieces? Probably a lot.
Yeah.
But this specifically does make it really unique. So I think she's just caught off guard about the fact that people know about the story. But I was like, girl, I don't know if I'd be mad.
It's
like,
quite marketable.
it's so marketable. I feel like that piece now could be put in a museum, you know?
For sure.
So,
Yeah, but basically Patrick put the Switch to Birch story in the art catalog about Regina without consulting her first.
yes, he writes like Regina Vasquez is like an artist in Kansas City, whatever. He just says a few months ago, Regina learned that her daughters were switched to birth.
Not true, but yes.
Right. Well, yeah, not true. Again, has it only been a few months since that fucking... Because he goes on to be like, I thought it wasn't a big deal because the paper literally covered it when it came out. If that was a few months ago.
Guys, explain the timeline.
Ugh. Anyway.
Bay is looking at Regina's mascot, and this is where she knows this is not for sale. So I think that weird artsy couple bought the Phoebe Bridgers Punisher piece one.
Okay.
At the same time, Emma shows up to the gallery with Cameron and Olivia.
This was crazy of him. Do you think he invited them, or do you think they were just like, and we're going to come too?
I don't know.
Like, this is fucked all around.
My guess is he was telling them, I'm going to go to the art gallery for Regina because Bay's going to be there. And maybe Olivia was like, oh my God, I love art. We should all go.
Maybe it happened off screen.
It happened
I don't know.
off screen.
But like, this was such a bad idea.
Because Melly greets Emma, gives him a hug, and immediately smells alcohol on his breath.
Even before that, Olivia and Cameron and her are not on speaking terms, it seems.
I know. Bad idea. They must have known Melly was going to be there. She's best friend. Yeah.
Yeah, but she's like, oh, you've been drinking. And
You're
he's
not
like,
texting me and you're drinking.
and he's like, what? No, he's such a bad liar.
Such a bad liar. And then she immediately, angrily confronts Cameron.
And they have a full-blown
Full-blown
fight in
ASL fight.
ASL.
Love this fight.
It was
But
awesome.
Cameron goes, whatever. He's a teenager. He's enjoying life.
She says something about like, this is why he shouldn't live with you.
He needs boundaries.
He needs boundaries. And he's like, he likes living with me. And she goes, of course he does. You live in a frat house. And he goes, it's better than living in army barracks.
Oh my God.
Cameron, step up and be a dad challenge,
I know.
please.
At the same time, Regina's confronting Patrick about the pamphlet, saying that he used her in her story. But then Bay's interrupting. He's like, sorry guys, there's a death fight happening.
Honestly, I was waiting for that pretentious hipster couple to be like, wow, I love this, like,
It's a beautiful
pop-up
language.
art. No, I was expecting for them to be like, this is part of the art exhibit. Like, this is an art piece.
This is performance art.
Yeah,
I love that.
I thought that they were going to be like, wow, performance art.
That would have been so funny. Olivia stupidly joins this fight as if she has any say in the matter.
Olivia also, before they start fighting, is like giving Melody evil eyes.
Yeah.
What are you doing, girl? Just stay out of it.
You are 22 years old.
This is not your place.
And then she goes, Emmett is actually very mature for his age.
And she's like, when I was his age, we know when you were his age.
But
Shut
we
up.
know what you were doing.
And Melody says, oh, what, like 2 years ago?
Basically. Awesome.
Burn.
But then Regina's like, hey, this is my gallery show and what if we took this outside? Cameron attempts to like guide Melody outside.
And she's like, don't touch me.
Yeah, and like hits him on the shoulder. What? Love this.
But Regina's like, please not here, guys.
Yeah.
Let's go. Anyway, and then Melody's like, because of my job at the school, like if you were any other parent, I would call CPS on you.
Not mentioning that he also wants to drop out.
Which she brings up. She says is that this is why he wants to drop out of school.
And then Cameron's like, who said anything about dropping out?
Yeah.
But then Emmett is looking at this conversation, immediately turns to Bay. Because Bay must be the only person who's told about dropping out.
Yeah.
And Bay's like, oh, so that's the sign for dropout.
Hey, you're in trouble,
I like that
girl.
during the whole fight. She was like, what are they saying? Oh, drop out. Oh, yep. Okay. Oh, that's the sign. Melody says to Cameron, so he is moving back in with me tomorrow, or else I'm fighting for full custody.
Yeah.
They break up this fight. The fight's done now. And then Bay tries to go up to Emmett, and he's like,
but Cameron says, go ahead and fight for full custody. So now they're going to be in like a court battle.
poor Emmett.
Poor Emmett. But he does need to be living with Melody. Cameron is not a safe parent for him.
Not
Which
at
is
all.
kind of crazy. You are married to someone for 16 years at least. Or you're with someone at least for 16 years.
Were you not involved in Emmett's
Yeah, was he
childhood at
just
all?
like not, I don't know.
Bay tries to go talk to Emmett after the fight, and he's like, just don't.
Yeah, he
and then
speaks. He says, just don't. And then
he
he
speaks
says,
just don't. And then he
and he says,
signs.
aren't you happy you heard me talk now? Like, I don't think that's, I know for Emmett that's been like turmoil that he's been going through this whole episode. I don't feel like it is for Bae.
No.
Bae doesn't actually, I think,
Bae's learning fast.
yeah, and also at this point, like, if he was like, I don't want to do speech therapy, Bae would be like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
She didn't really, I know he, like, felt pressure from her, and it was present at the beginning of their relationship, but I don't feel like it's there anymore.
Me neither. I feel like Bae now has like quite an understanding and respect for Sign that she didn't prior.
Yeah.
So like he really doesn't need to be torturing himself. But also he hates living with his dad.
He hates it. What a mess.
Now we're at the Kentish house. I think it's the next day. Bae's in the kitchen and then Regina comes in to get some
Yeah.
coffee.
This is really sweet.
I have thoughts on this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But Bae first asks Regina, have you heard from Melody? Because Emma's not talking to me. And Regina's like, no, but I think you did the right thing. And then Bae asks about the mascot and says it wasn't for sale. And I noticed that the wings that were next to the mask were made of bay leaves. And she's getting emotional. And Regina goes, yeah, I know. I don't think Regina would have expressed any of this to Bae if Bae hadn't asked, which is what drives me crazy about this
Yeah.
interaction. And then she's like, yeah, I made it when I first found out that your name was Bae. That's kind of it. I know it's supposed to be like this heartwarming
I
scene.
don't know. It worked on me.
It didn't to me because Regina's kind of like, I know.
Yeah, she's pretty gruff about the whole thing, but I feel like the symbolism in the art meant a lot to Bae.
It did.
And so I don't feel like she needed to expound on it very much.
I just felt like Bae needed to like pull this love,
Yes.
expression
oh,
of
totally.
love at Regina
Yeah.
instead of just receiving it.
Yeah, the two of them are pretty emotionally closed off with each other still.
It's just tough to watch for me personally.
It is tough.
Next scene, Catherine meets up with Brizia on the street, and she gives Brizia an envelope full of cash on this busy street in Kansas City in broad daylight.
And I wrote down, what did she sell? We're about to find out, guys.
We are about to find out.
But I was like, what the hell? Also, I was like, how much money? Because she pulls it out and there's like a couple, you see a couple hundred.
hundreds.
But then when you find out what she sold,
Yeah.
it definitely was a lot more than that.
Regina and Patrick are now at the guest house
Patrick comes to bring her commission check, I guess,
for $500.
for $500. I guess for the Punisher piece. I don't know what's going on.
And she's confronting him about taking advantage of her worshiper story. But then he's like, but this is how your art gets power and sells. Hands her the check. And then she's like, oh, that's Ross,
She
actually.
flips immediately. She's just like, okay. And then they're like gonna go out on a second date. Also, she says she hates Indian food, which
What
I think
is
is
your
a
problem?
red flag. What is your problem?
Also, India is a very large and diverse country.
Yeah, I'm sure you don't hate all Indian food.
Yeah, not cool. But yeah, she's like, okay, I'm done. Now it's product placement time.
That was crazy. Okay, so Catherine pulls up in a Prius, right? Isn't it a Prius?
It looks like a Toyota Camry.
Okay.
It was a Toyota.
I'm kind of car blind, so it could be anything. It doesn't matter. It's
Yeah.
a
She never
hybrid.
says the word Toyota,
No.
but she's like,
Well, that's not the sponsorship.
no.
She pulls up in this little gray car and she's sitting in it in the driveway and John comes out. He's like, what the fuck? And she's like, look at this cute little car. And he's like, what? Did you get in an accident? She goes, no, I bought it. And then he's speechless and she's like, look, you can even play...
You can play Pandora
You
Radio.
can play Pandora Radio, and there's like a full close-up of the Pandora.
And the
then she's like,
Toyota logo
Yeah.
in the car. And John's like, that's all well and good.
what the fuck?
Why? Why do we have a new Toyota Camry? And then she's like, so I sold her gas guzzling SUV. I bought the Toyota, and I gave Brizia the difference in cash. She did this all in a day.
I guess so. I guess she just went to the dealer.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, how much cash do we think that was?
Several thousand.
At least. It was a Mercedes.
Oh, I thought it was a
SUV.
Jeep. Okay.
It's like, no, it was a G-Wagon.
Okay, sure. Okay, so how much would that be? I don't know how much cars cost.
A G-Wagon's like $40,000.
I was going to say 40,000. And then
a
Toyota.
Toyota Camry. Like, I feel like
30,000?
she maybe gave Bricia like $10,000 to $20,000.
Yeah, that is so much money.
That's so much money. Kind of slay, Catherine. She said, ally, I'm going to help out.
She said, I'm going to help people who actually need the money.
Yeah.
Legally
John's
not
pissed.
great for the lawsuit.
Not great.
Morally, so cool.
Morally awesome, that rocks. John is pissed, and I do think he has a right to be mad because earlier in the episode, she was basically asking Craig, like, is there any way I can give Brizia money? And he was like, no, because they're going to be watching your bank account. So any pulling out any money is going to raise flags. So then her response is to do this. But don't you think they're also going to be watching Brizia's bank account?
But they gave her cash.
Yeah, but she's not going to just keep it under her mattress.
Maybe she is.
Okay, maybe. I immediately was like, well, they're going to get found out because they're going to be like, why does Brizia now have $10,000?
My guess was that, are they not going to see that she sold her car? I guess because she did everything in cash. But
And just be like, yeah, I sold my car. That's not a crime. Like, I wanted a more efficient
I wanted the
vehicle.
Pandora radio.
Yeah, I needed Pandora radio.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it would work, honestly, if Brizia just keeps the cash and doesn't put it in her bank account.
I just feel like I would never keep that much cash not in a bank account.
A lot of people do, though.
Anyway.
But yeah, basically, Catherine's like, I just want everyone to be happy.
Yeah.
And that's really her character. She really does that a lot.
She's
like, why? I can't believe things aren't fair. They should be.
She's so mad. I like that John is like, I can't talk about this right now, and walks off and then comes back and is like, and another thing. He's pretty mad.
Yeah. Daphne is at basketball practice, and the coach confronts her about the tour, and he's like, so what was that about? I guess the boosters ratted on her and was like, this weird girl kept promoting the deaf school. Cut to the next scene. Daphne immediately goes to John and Melody at Carlton. The two of them are like planning basketball plays. And she says, let's save this team, guys.
Her like striding in. She was like, I'm going to save the day.
I am the best player ever.
Fucking annoying.
The three of them basically did like the jump in the air and the freeze frame.
Yeah. Okay, and then Bae shows up to Carlton. God, everyone's going to Carlton this episode.
Yeah. She sees Emma. She's wearing
a zipped Buckner sweater. It's like a cardigan, but instead of buttons, it's a zipper. And it has like lace sewn down the front.
I did see this.
The Carlton crest. And then, not Carlton, sorry, Buckner.
Yes.
A Buckner crest. And then she's wearing a Buckner hoodie, the same exact color, that's also like a zipper thing, pulled over it.
It's cold out.
It's actually, it is, because you can see Emmett's breath in this scene, which is crazy. They must have been filming so early in the morning because that never happens in LA.
Oh, sure.
Anyway, the zipper on zipper, I couldn't do it. And then she's also wearing these like folded down booties.
Okay. Nice. I didn't notice any of this. I love this. I did notice the Buckner crest because, again, Buckner has a huge fashion line. She goes to see Emma at school and she's like, lovely seeing you here. And he goes, what, you gonna tell my mom?
He's so salty.
I know. And then she goes, so I care about you and I love you and I thought you were in trouble. And Emma like angrily yells, I'm happy. Everything is fine.
Are you, King?
I am so sick of his behavior.
Yeah.
I know he's supposed to be a cranky, surly teenage boy. I am sick of it.
I just feel like, what does he want from people? I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel this isn't Bae's fault at all. It's not Bae's fault.
No.
But I feel like in the alternate timeline where him and Daphne started dating, none of this happens.
You might be right.
Like, I think all of this is happening because he's, like, expanded his world and is suddenly lost in it.
That's true.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have moved to Cameron's if he didn't have to sell his motorcycle.
Yeah.
If he wasn't arrested for doing the street art.
Well, yeah, and just, like, he was trying to flee his mom's bad feelings about his relationship.
Yeah.
But then he's turned around and is, like, poisoning his relationship.
I know. It's awful. That's the end of the episode. He just, like, angrily walks away.
He says basically, like, fuck you, bye, and leaves.
And then credits roll. I think the one thing I liked about the episode was kind of, like, the converging of the emotional arcs with Bae and Melody.
Yeah, them being on kind of the same side for once.
I know.
It's crazy.
That was my favorite part. And then also the signing fight at the gallery.
So good.
So much signing.
And no Simcom.
I was delighted.
And no
Simcom. Thank God. You guys should do that more.
That was awesome.
That's great.
Oh, did I show you my Twilight tattoo?
No. Oh my God, that's so good. It's the two hands holding the apple, like the Twilight book cover.
That was it. I just wanted to bring up Twilight on the pod. That's all I have to say.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.